Hey, it's the Big NFL Fan Freak, and we're here with our new segment, Football Talks. Now, this will be our first official show of the Football Talks, and today's topic is going to be 32 teams rankings. As far as my rankings go, at number one, I have the New England Patriots. Why, you may ask? I mean, obviously they went to the Super Bowl last year. They had a very good offense. Their defense wasn't the best, but I mean, with Tom Brady and good options, and if they get Plaxico Burress, I think it could just be a very dominating team that I think will possibly have the best record in their division and the best chance to get to a Super Bowl of all the other teams that I saw. At number 2, I have the San Francisco 49ers with Alex Smith, who went to the NFC Championship last year, only to lose to the eventual Super Bowl champion in the Giants. I believe they will do very good with Randy Moss coming in. They're going to have Vernon Davis and Frank Gore as well still remaining in that dominating defense. I can't see why they wouldn't get back into at least the playoffs and at least contend for that Super Bowl and be a very good team. So we'll see if I'm right. I'm hoping I am. At number 3, I have the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay showed me last season that they can be a very good team, but once when the playoffs hit, kind of struggled a bit and didn't really take over the game at all against the Giants. Ended up losing after a very dominating season. So hopefully Green Bay can turn around so they can keep it consistent in both the regular season and postseason to get to a very good record and maybe a possible Super Bowl. At number 4, I got my third NFC team in a row basically, is the New York Giants, the Super Bowl champions of last year. You're probably wondering why I don't have them number 1. I just think the Packers and 49ers just have a better chance for this next upcoming year to win it again. I'm not saying the Giants don't have a chance. I'm saying they could be a very good playoff team and win their division again, possibly have a chance for the Super Bowl. I'm just saying based on what I know, what I've saw last year, that it'll be a very tough road for them to get over those other two teams. But hey, they could prove me wrong and the Giants could win another Super Bowl, giving Eli a Hall of Fame basic resume right there for 3 Super Bowls. Ranking up my top 5 is the Houston Texans. Houston, I think, will dominate their division with the Colts, Titans, and Jags. I mean, 2 of those teams are basically new teams coming in. I'm not saying they can't have a chance to kind of, challenge them a bit, but as far as it goes, Houston has a very good team, good defense, good offense. If they all stay healthy, Houston could have a very good another playoff year, possible Super Bowl contention as well. So they're number 2 on my AFC list, right behind New England, just barely right behind them. At number 6, I had the Baltimore Ravens. I had a huge battle between Baltimore and Houston, who I thought was going to be ahead. But Baltimore, I mean, obviously they have the dominating defense, and with the Suggs injury, it'll kind of hurt them a little bit, but I think they can make up for that. I mean, Joe Flacco had a pretty good year last year, and I think they could be a Super Bowl contending team. It was that they kind of show me that, hey, we can get very deep in the playoffs and get to that Super Bowl before I kind of could rank them higher. Number 7, I had the Detroit Lions. Lions last year had a very good season getting into the playoffs. Stafford and Calvin Johnson coming back. I think the Lions will be a good team to possibly have a playoff contention. They'll be very hard in that division. They have 2 other dominating teams with the Bears and Packers that they'll have to kind of contend with to prove, hey, we can get in this division and still get in the playoffs. It'll be hard for them, but I'm not saying they can't do it, so I could see them being a very good playoff contender. At number 8, I have the Denver Broncos. Denver I have as my number 1 AFC team. I think Peyton will show all the experts wrong, show he has this arm strength and everything. I mean, I know in his preseason game he had the interception and everything, but I mean, he was still throwing his passes accurately. So I think Denver could have a pretty dominating season and be another playoff contender as well. And like I said, the division winner, so we'll see how they do. I'm hoping that they will have a pretty good year. At number 9, at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh obviously has the injury with Ben Roethlisberger currently, but I believe that he'll come back and then they'll be ready to go. And they obviously have their issue with Mike Wallace still right now. They lost Hines Ward to retirement. and then they lost their running back Moldy Moore to the Colts. They still have basically all the defenders there with Troy Polamalu and all those. So it'll be a good season, I think, for the Pittsburgh series. Obviously, they'll have to contend with Ravens and Bengals to kind of earn that spot in the playoffs. Could be a possible division winner and could be a possible wild card contender. So we'll have to kind of see how Pittsburgh turns out. Finishing out my top 10, the Dallas Cowboys, who I'm hoping will shut everybody up by having a good playoff run. And I mean, if they get to the Super Bowl, maybe that'll stop some of their talks about they can't get anywhere past the little beginning of the postseason. So I think Dallas could be a very good team this upcoming year. Obviously in a very tough division with the Giants and Eagles as well. It'd be tough for them to get there. They can do it. They can win the division, but they could be just a possible wild card contender for the NFC. At number 11, just barely missing the top 10, are the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta obviously has their good offense with Matt Ryan and Michael Turner. They still have that. I mean, they have a decent defense now with Asante Samuel added on. They just have to show that they can do a good postseason. Last postseason, we didn't really see much of a performance from the Atlanta Falcons, giving any challenge to the New York Giants, the Super Bowl winners. So they'll have to show it this year that they can be a very dominant team in the postseason. They could be a possible division winner, and they could be a possible wild card contender, I would see, for the Atlanta Falcons. At number 12, I have the San Diego Chargers. The Chargers obviously didn't have too great of a year last year, finishing 8-8, pretty much with the rest of the division. And I believe they finished third in their division last year. Phillip Rivers had a okay-ish year, and they're going to still have their running back and all their Gates obviously returning. So I can see them doing very good. Possible division winner as well. Possible wild card contender if they don't for the playoffs. So I think we'll have to see how the Chargers kind of turn out. And it'll be Phillip Rivers' chance to kind of prove, hey, I can get in the playoffs and we can win these games and possibly get to a Super Bowl. At number 13, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. The only reason I really have the Eagles lower is because of Michael Vick and his risk for injury. I'm not saying he's not a good quarterback at all. He's a very good quarterback. He's a very, very fast quarterback. And I think it could be a possible, if he stays healthy the entire season through the postseason, it can be a Super Bowl winning team. And a possible division winner as well. And I mean, I would think at the least it would be in the wild card contention this year if he stays healthy. So I'm hoping the Eagles will have a good season this year. Maybe they'll make all that dream team or whatever they had last year commons again, but we'll just have to see how the Eagles turn out. At number 14, I have New Orleans Saints. New Orleans, and then we'll have Drew Brees coming back, and then the running back Sproles. Most of their defense still there. I think they could still be a very good in their division, a possible late wild card contender as well. It'll just probably take them a while to kind of get back in touch with everything after all that's happened this offseason. At number 15, I have the Chicago Bears. Bears will obviously have Cutler, Devin Hester, Brian Urlacher all returning. And the Bears, if everybody stays healthy, they can be a very good possible division winner or a playoff team, wild card potential. But like I said, if they'll take everybody staying healthy and them winning a couple games in that very tough division with the Lions and Packers. I'm very interested to see how the Bears will do this season. Bringing out my top half of my list at number 16 is the New York Jets. Jets, I believe, have a very decent team. Could be a wild card contender again. Hopefully, I'm thinking they'll do better than last year. But it is a very tough division for them, and we'll just have to kind of see how that whole Tim Tebow thing works out. At number 17, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs I only really have this low because I just don't think they'll win over the division over the Chargers or Broncos. They can, it's possible, but as in my rankings, I just think they're the number 3 team in that division. But they are a very good team with Matt Castle, Dwayne Bowe, and all those players on that team. They can be a very dominating team. It'll just be all up to them to kind of prove we can compete for this division and be like, hey, we're a very good team. We can defend the passes and all those stuff. We'll have to see how Kansas City does. At number 18, the Carolina Panthers. Carolina, like I said, will have Cam Newton returning for his second year. I'm hoping he'll have another good year like he did the year before. I'm expecting a better record for them, but they are in a very tough division with the Saints and Falcons in there. So it'll be tough for Cam Newton to kind of win that division. He could be a possible wild card contender for their team. It's all up to him if he can win these games and kind of keep that leading of that team. Keep healthy. He is Michael Vick type. So I'm hoping the Carolina Panthers will have a good season. And number 19, at the Cardinals. The Cardinals I have so low is because of the quarterback situation going on right now. I don't even know. I can't even say who I would think would be the starter for that team. I saw both of them in practice. They both look pretty good. Obviously, Cobb has the injury right now, and Skelton showed that he had a better drives. But Cobb really only had a few drives. I mean, he had the pick and then the injury. So I don't know. It's just gonna kind of all have to watch through the season. But as for Arizona, they're in a tough division. They'll have to kind of pull some big games out to kind of win those games to even be a high contingent, and hopefully they can end up for that wild card battle. If not, it could be them missing the playoffs again this year. At number 20, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals obviously had a pretty good season with Andy Dalton coming in last year, leading that team. I think he'll have a pretty good year again this year. But like I said, he's in a very tough division with Pittsburgh and the Ravens, and that's why I think he's going to finish third for their division. But I believe this team could battle very hardly for the wild card battle and possibly winning to get into the playoffs. At number 21, I have the Bills. The Bills, they're in a very tough division. They'll have to hope for some big wins over the Jets and Patriots to kind of get over that third spot and hope for a playoff contention. I really can't see them as a division winner for that league, the AFC East, but who knows? I mean, anything can happen in the NFL. I can see them as definitely maybe a possible wild card team in the end of their season, so we'll have to kind of see how the Bills do. At number 22, at the Tennessee Titans. The Titans, obviously in the division with the Texans. I mean, they are the number 2 AFC South team that I've named, but I just feel all those other teams in front of them are better, and I just don't feel like the Titans. They could be a possible, I mean, if they do win at least a couple games, I mean, they'll have a lot of those wins from the division. They'll also have to win a couple games outside of the division to prove we can get, you know, in that dominating where we can make it into the wild card, because they were in the wild card contention last year, but they could be in that little mix again. They'll have to hope, you know, somebody maybe loses or something to get into the playoffs again. Number 23, the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks is a team that only if really they get some miracle games that I could see them even possibly contending for the playoffs. I can honestly see them missing it, but with T.O. and everything, I mean, they have a good offense. They have a pretty average defense. They can possibly win some games. They could maybe just be in that little mix that just barely misses it out in the playoffs, but who knows? I mean, like I said, it's in the NFL, anything can happen. At number 24, at the Oakland Raiders. In that very confusing AFC West division, I mean, last season was all 8-8 teams. Carson Palmer's going to have his first full season. I saw a lot from Carson Palmer last year. I would have to hope he would stay healthy along with Darren McFadden. If they both stay healthy, I can definitely see this team being higher ranked and being a playoff contender for sure. If one of them doesn't really, especially if it's Carson or, I mean, even Darren, I mean, either way, I just don't see how they can get really into that. Maybe possibly they can get in that mix for the wild card, but honestly, other than that, I can't really see them doing too well. Number 25 at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A few years ago was a pretty good team, but now it's kind of slipping down the slope. They still got Rodney Barber, they got Dallas Clark added on, they still have Josh Freeman, they have a new coach and everything, but It's in a tough division. I just really can't see them really getting into the playoffs this year. Possibly next year if they get some key teams and everything, and they show this year, hey, we can compete in this league of the NFC and beat some teams and everything. I would hope that they would kind of show, hey, we can win a lot of the games, but I'm just not really seeing it right now. At number 27, I have the Washington Redskins. The Redskins I have so low are because of the very hard division they're in with the Giants, Eagles, and Cowboys. It'll be very hard to win a couple games in those, and then with the rest of the NFC being a very tough league to win in, it'll just be a very tough year for RG3. I'm not saying he can't succeed and possibly do well for this team, but like I said, it's a very hard league. I really can't see them possibly getting into the playoffs this year, possibly next year. For the Redskins fans, I know it's upsetting, but just we might have to be a little bit patient for a little bit before it kind of gets back in that mix of, hey, we can dominate the NFC East and get into the playoffs. Number 27, I had the Dolphins. The Dolphins, originally I had high because I thought they were going to have a lot of wide receivers options and everything, but they just got rid of Chad Johnson, so I might change my ranking on them, but as of right now, I have them where they are at number 26, or 27, I mean. They're in a very tough division with the Bills, Jets, and Patriots, and I just really can't see them doing well in the division or even getting into the wild card race for the Dolphins this year. They have a good running game, they have a good quarterback coming in, Tannehill, but I'm hoping for you Dolphins fans, but I'm just not seeing it right now. At number 28, Vikings. In this ranking, I'm basing only on Adrian Peterson. If he stays healthy, you guys can contend for this division. And if Christian Ponder can show I can be a good quarterback, because that's all they need is the quarterback and that Adrian Peterson stay healthy, and they'll be a good team because they'll have the defense with Jaron Allen and everything to depend on that league. It's a very hard division they're in, but they can contend for it. But this year, I mean, it's just going to have to be all them showing it this year for me to rank them up any higher this year. I personally see them, if they stay healthy, being a good team, maybe barely making in that race, but right now, like I said, it's all I would have to see it first before I can say, hey, you guys might have a chance to get in the playoffs. Number 29, I have the Indianapolis Colts. Colts had a very good showing in their first preseason game, and I would think they'll be a good contender again for the AFC South, but with new quarterback and everything, I mean, anything could happen. And they could have a Cam Newton season, it could be Couch season, I don't know, or Ryan Leaf season, I don't even know. It could be anything right now. But we'll have to just wait and see. Colts can be a contender. I don't see them really as a playoff team right now. But, I mean, it's all from that last season before. I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll have a definite improvement over what happened before. So all these are kind of mostly, all these rankings, ones below, are all, we have to see it first before I can say, hey, you might have a chance. At number 30, at the Cleveland Browns. The Browns obviously got quarterback Brandon Weeden coming in, and I don't really see them winning their division or even being in the wild card race at all. I mean, they have a okayish team and everything, but I think they just need a couple more good players before they can kind of compete in this AFC league. And at 31, at the St. Louis Rams. Rams, I mean, they have Bradford and they have Steven Jackson, two very good players, but other than that, they don't really have anything. But Rams, wow, to show that they have some weapons, that with the new coach Jeff Fisher, I'm sure he'll try to help out the best he can, bring in good players and everything to help out that team. But as far as winning the division or getting in the playoff race, it's very unlikely to me to see that. Hey, Rams fans, if you want to prove me wrong, go ahead, prove me wrong. And last, the only one I know for sure I agreed with the NFL power rankings, number 32 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think we both agree, just they don't really have any key players. I mean, but Blaine Gabbert does really well. If Maurice Jones-Drew stay healthy and doesn't well like he normally does, and that defense, I mean, they have a lot of younger players, and a lot of unheard of players for their defense. They would have to hope they do well. They have to at least hope they finish in third on their division to even have a chance for anything, but I just can't see them even competing for a wild card or anything right now. It's just all ifs for them, except for pretty much Maurice Jones-Drew, because he's the only really good player on that team, pretty much leading that team right now from what we saw last year. So, Jags fans, sorry, but you are last on both lists, so just all you have to show it to get you up about 32. Jaguars, it's all up to you guys. You're the last one. Patriot fans, you're number one. You can be like, yay, we're going to keep there. So, that ends my football talks with the rankings. Hope you stay tuned for tomorrow's schedule release for week 1 since I missed it, and then week 2's as well. I'll be using these helmets again and everything. Hope you stay tuned and keep watching. So, thank you.